me get the mic. Honey, I got something to say. Ooh, I like that. Can you turn that up for me? No, like, it's Maja. But you know, Maj for short. Ask Maj.
What's up? What's up? It's your girl Maj, and we are back with another episode of Ask Maj, the podcast, where I am spilling all the real tea. So it's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. I hope you all are having an amazing day. I have a very special guest with me here today, Mr. Nels Cephas, who is the founder and CEO of DC Now Events, which is a company that connects event goers who are native and tourists with unique events within the city that they reside or are traveling to. So I'm super excited to talk to Nels. So we'll jump right into the Maj moment, and then we will jump into our interview. So, quick Maj moment of the day, of the year, of the month, of the week, however long you need it. I actually stole this from my pastor. This was the message on Sunday, and I know he's probably going to start charging me for all of the Maj moments that I take from his messages. But they're just so inspirational, and his messages are those that I can carry throughout the week. And if you are looking for a church home or somewhere just to worship, my church is called Destiny Reachers DMV with Pastor Quentin Battle. So shout out to Pastor Quentin Battle. But the Maj moment, and I don't really necessarily have a story behind this, but I think this just speaks to everybody who's kind of going through, and it seems like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. So the Maj moment for this week is what you're going through now doesn't compare to the blessing you are getting ready to receive. So I just wanted to use that moment just to kind of encourage you to keep going. Don't stop in the storm. Stay patient. Stay hopeful. Don't give up. Keep going, because what you're getting ready to receive, I mean, that unexpected jaw-dropping blessing is no comparison to what you've dealt with. I mean, it's one of those things where you get blessed and then you think about it and you're like, wow, I can't even believe I was stressing over that. It's something you're going to completely forget because you're going to be so gung-ho just on the blessing that God is getting ready to give to you and rain on your life. So I just encourage you to keep going. So yes, now that we are done with the Maj moment, we are going to hop into our Ask Maj question of the day. And I have Mr. Nels here ready to kind of answer this question with me. So let's jump right in. How do women know when a man is ready for marriage? And so I'll take a shot first.
Okay.
and then I'll let you jump in. So how do I know when a man is, how do women know when a man is ready for marriage? If I'm gonna be honest, I think the answer is simple. I think he's gonna tell you. I think he'll begin to initiate conversations about future plans, whether it be moving in together, whether it be you guys begin to discuss finances, whether he talks about marriage or meeting his family. And so he starts to initiate those conversations about long-term plans with you. I think that's how you can kind of know that he's inching a little bit towards marriage, or he's hinting that you the one. What do you think about that, Nels? How do women know when a man is ready for marriage?
Well, first, I have to say I'm a big fan of your show. I listen to your show every week, every Wednesday. As soon as I see that post, I say,
yes,
I go listen to it. So with that being said, 99.9% of everything that you said in the past on your shows, I agree with it. So to just follow up with with what you're saying, like how you convey on the talking points as it pertains to men is hard to beat, to follow up what you just said. So I'm gonna just say I agree.
Okay, good. I can deal with that. But yeah, I just think he'll tell you. I think when it comes to marriage, that's a huge step in relationships. And as much as men don't like to communicate, I think he can tell you that you're the one and that he's ready to marry you, or he's ready to move into that serious phase of the relationship. So yes. So anyway, Nels, how are you? Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Holding up during this pandemic. I can say it's been hard, but worth it at the same time. How are you holding up during the pandemic?
Everything been good, man. It's been bringing out the creative out of our team, out of our company even more. It's been having me gain a lot of weight. I put on like 29 pounds.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. Post pandemic, before the pandemic, I was like 131. I was very slim because I was always on the move. Man, 3 months in, I think I gained like 15 pounds. Now I'm like
Wow.
29 pounds in, so I'm like pushing 160. I'm like 150, but
It's
it's
so
good
crazy.
weight though.
Right. And it's so crazy. I feel like even if you're not exercising, it's crazy to see how just from just sitting in the house, how you can gain weight. Like even if you're not
Right,
an
right,
avid exerciser, but just like being on the move, like,
right,
that's our body's way of like becoming immune to just sitting around. It's like putting on weight. So
right,
no,
right, right.
I feel you. I feel you. So yes, let's jump into the good stuff.
Okay.
You are the founder CEO of DC Now Events, and I know I talked a little bit about what DC Now Events is, but tell us what is DC Now Events? And yeah, what is DC Now? Let's start from there, and then you can also, I would love to hear about kind of where the idea came from. So let's start there.
DC9 events. The idea really came from DC. The idea for DC9 events really stemmed from my years of being a former nightclub promoter in the DC area.
Oh, wow.
For over like 9, 10 years, I was in the industry. I ain't trying to tell my age, but I was in
Ooh,
it for a
okay.
while. I started to notice when it came to nightclubs, the the people from our culture, we was only regulated to just the nightclub scene, and so many of my friends, people that I know, people that I've done business with, people that I've hung out with, aside from the club scene, we like to do fun, fly stuff. And through the relationship I've made from the nightlife scene, I was able to meet so many different awesome and cool people throughout. And by that relationship and just networking as a whole, these individuals started to invite me to so many different functions outside of the nightclub scene that I had no idea existed within my backyard. So I started noticing like it was these different beer festivals, art festival, all these eclectic different events that people are going to now, and over the past 5 to 10 years, these events was going on in our backyard in '07, '08, '06, and we had no clue. So I was like, okay, that's very interesting. Why is it that we're only regulated to clubs, but these other group of people, they know about these other events on top of clubs. So the more and more I kept getting exposed, I was like, okay, by 2008, an idea came to mind where I wanted to create an itinerary brochure that would have a list of all the parties at the time, because I was still heavy in the club scene, doing party promotions, and it was going to show a list of all the parties in the DC area, and I was going to pass the brochure out on all the college campuses in DC, Maryland, and VA. But I was so busy with so many weekly parties going on that I never had the time to execute the concept. Fast forward, I started to lose passion of doing events as a whole. I wasn't interested in the entertainment business, in the nightlife business no more. It was so much racial undertone, both blatant and non-blatant. And I always had the mindset, I'm like, these individuals that we are hosting their party at, they're not doing us a favor by us hosting our events and bringing our audience to the establishment. It's almost like we're renting their space to put in the legwork to bust our butt to bring people out. And though some of the pay was good, but it was us working hard and not smart. So I was like, let me look at the current climate of the shift from a digital standpoint and the transition of all these different new group of people coming in the DMV, which will then open up a segue of more unique, eclectic type events. So the idea of DC Night events came to mind, I think like 2014, 2015, where I wanted to create a hub where it will make it very easy, where if you're an event goer or if you're a tourist, you can land on our platforms. You see the different unique events that we find, we post on our page, and if you choose to attend it, you can feel like a tourist within your hometown. So the whole vision that I have was, one, to save you time, two, to be able to provide value to our culture, but also to brand it and structure it where it's still inclusive, where anybody can feel comfortable and anybody can feel accepted when they land on our page. If you have a family, if you're a kid, if you're a teenager, if you want to take somebody on a date, if you want to hang out with your friends, you and your friends just got that dope promotion from your job. DC Night Events is that hub where you can land on it and you can find any and everything that you do that's quality, but that's also, again, will make you feel like a tourist in your hometown. When it comes to traveling, so many people may not have the funds to travel to their ideal spot. So I was like, okay, in that lane, we can still create this platform where for people who may not have the funds to travel to their ideal spot, they can still feel like a tourist when they land on DC Night Events, because there's so many different events that people have no clue about, where if you was to attend these events that we find and post, you're like, damn, I didn't even know this was happening. And that's the whole purpose of people wanting to travel, to find and to experience something new so they can come back and share that. And if I can be able to create that from a domestic standpoint and take it in other places, just imagine how far I can be able to create it from an international standpoint. So our company don't do events. A lot of people, when they hear the events at the end of DC Night Events, they automatically think we are a event-based company. And again, that's not the route I wanted to go, because I did that for so long. I just wanted to create something, again, where it will bring value to the ideal cities that we branch off to, especially the DC area that we're at right now. And as time goes on, we will be the #1 tech company where once you open up our app, you can find and discover anything within your hometown without you having to look for these events.
Yes. First of all, I'm excited when you kind of told me about the Eventbrite and tech company. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm super excited to talk about that. But you mentioned kind of this transition from the club scene. So and just to be clear, right? So DC Now Events is the liaison between event planners and event goers. Is that right?
Yeah, we are the liaison we're the liaison for event goers and event planners. But what's very interesting, we're also a hub where we also let people know that whatever industry or profession that you're in, or even if you're not in the industry, you're trying to find your lane or find yourself, our platform has become a hub to identify your ideal target, your ideal interest, or the ideal B2B that you're trying to connect with. So for somebody like yourself who's in the communication lane and the media
Come
lane,
on.
You may not see DC Night Events. Okay, I don't feel like going to events. I don't really need to look for events. But keep in mind the different type of events that we post. It can be a conference where you may not even know that conference is happening in your backyard, but see that conference that we posted is happening from a virtual or offline standpoint, and you can contact or search that post that we made. So now we're providing value not just for event goers, we're also providing value to people who are in the B2B scene as well, to save you time, to not have to find and search for your ideal target or partnership that you may seek interest in within the city that you're at.
I love that. So going back, I was getting ready to ask you, you talked about kind of the transition from the club space, right? So
Yes.
does DC Now Events promote any like club events or?
Yeah. So we that's the benefit that we have on our end because we come from a club background. We also have direct access to people who still do club events. However, the whole focus again was to make people feel and have that rejuvenating experience with where they live. So even though we can post club events, but the main focus is to aggregate unique events where the average person may not know how to find, or even if they do know how to find, they don't have the time, or we're taking the ease off of them. And the icing on top of the cake, we categorize each of the events based upon the 5 categories that the everyday event goers subconsciously search for when they look for something to do. That's 1, something free; 2, something cost friendly; 3, something for family; 4, something for friends; and 5, something from a date standpoint. And subconsciously, I don't care if you're in the US or international, that's the typical search approach that every event goers, they typically search for within those 5 categories that I just named. And on the flip side, that's the target audience that event planners, they typically target as well. But a lot of event planners, they really don't realize that's the target audience, which that their audience might fit in one of those 5 groups that I just broke down.
Interesting. So you talked about kind of the 5 things that people look for. So let's talk about, the pandemic, right? So like now that we're in this pandemic and we've seen this shift to, virtual, what type of trends are you seeing, as it relates to events and people either planning events or going to events? Like what trends are you seeing?
I think the pandemic had put event planners in a space where things that they probably wanted to do or they probably was apprehensive to do, it brought the best out of them and it forced them in a lane where it tapped into their creative. So now you're seeing a spike in people doing more virtual events, and virtual events has always been around. And this is why I always say that you have to focus not just on what you're good at, but also look at other lanes of areas that align with what you do and try to tap into it, and not just wait until a nationwide crisis come into play where you then have to pivot to that route. So it's a large influx of people doing virtual events. It's a large influx of people being creative on how they can build their email list to be able to connect with their audience outside of the IG world or the social media world. It's a large influx of people being more creative when it comes to how to curate outdoor events. A lot of outdoor events before COVID, it was more so festivals. Now you are seeing people having picnics events. You're seeing people having date night events in the realm of from a speed dating standpoint. People are doing the virtual speed dating right now. So the pandemic has been good in the sense that it brought the best out of people who may have been apprehensive or may not have thought they can do what they was not aware of before the pandemic came into play.
Right. And you're so right. Like how we've seen, the spike in virtual events and video conferencing. And like you said, it's always been around, but now we've seen this huge spike. So what has changed for DC Now Events considering this shift to virtual? Like what has changed in that regard?
So it's the things that have really changed for us. We became more innovative in the sense of connecting with the community times 10. So what does that mean? When COVID hit, we always had things in place to give back. We always had sponsorship programs in place for events that we thought had a great cause. But when the pandemic came into play, and a lot of the social issues that came into play, we put together our COVID-19 relief program that lasts for like 4 or 5 months. And within that 4 or 5 month period, we did certain things such as we did our Cash App COVID-19 initiative, where at the early stages, people, we had a contest where people had to send us a DM with their emails, and we picked certain random people and we send them a Cash App from our platform. We sponsor a sit-in protest for UDC. We just implemented a lot of initiative where people who are stuck at home, people who may be scared to go out. We created our small business takeover, which we had launched May 24th, and it was meant to be able to provide information that people can retain by us hand picking the ideal individuals who we believe was expert in their industry. It can be from an entrepreneur standpoint or a 9-to-5 standpoint. And the reason why I said a 9-to-5 is because just because you have a 9-to-5, that doesn't mean you are not an expert within the career that you're in. And I think too often people get looked down upon, or people don't feel like because you have a 9-to-5, you are not a boss, because we all started from somewhere. So we just wanted to create a small business takeover where people that we handpick, we give them access to our Instagram account, that they log in, and the topic that we pick for them that aligns with the industry or with the understanding of the profession that they're in, they will give 3 to 4 talking points and different approach during this time of need, where you, the viewer who's tuned into the IG Live, can be able to take notes, soak up game, and apply that the best way that aligns with your current life stages right now, or how you want to go about pivoting things during this current pandemic as we speak. We've been incorporating a lot of technology stuff because our company is structured as a tech company. The company is actually called Now Events. The umbrella underneath Now Events is the different divisions of the different cities that we're going to branch into. DC Now, Philly Now, New York Now, XYZ. And then once we transition to the 5 cities, we're going to create the app, and we're going to funnel all the cities in the US into that one app. So we did a testing back in July of our landscape filter, which is going to come out next year. And the landscape filter is where people who are scared to go out, they can be able to have our concept in their hand, the palm of their hand, and they can connect and find the ideal landscape within the city that they reside, and they can be a part of that landscape without having to leave the house.
Oh, wow.
We incorporated a lot of new services. We launched. We're going to launch a subsidiary of the company, which is going to be called Now Web Services. You are the first one hearing about it. Now Web Services.
Okay. You heard it here first. Tell us about that.
Now Web Services came from the many relationships that we've had, the partnerships that we've done, the people that we respect of what they do. And it's basically a service provider system that we're putting in place. For instance, you are in the media industry. Somebody will contact us. People contact DC9 Events thinking we are people contact us for all type of interesting things. Hey, can you promote my hair? Do you know anybody who do construction? Like so many different things. So instead of us having to handle all those different services that we don't do, or even if we do, we don't want people to think DC9 Events is a marketing company. So we created a subsidiary called Now Web Services, where any services that people inquire for us, even if it's from an advertising standpoint, because that's how we profit. People contact us to advertise the event. We charge them a fixed rate XYZ. But anything outside of that, on top of the advertising, we just say contact Now Web Services to inquire about those things. And depending upon the Rolodex of partners that we have, we then will outsource those work and say, hey, Maje, somebody contact us and they inquire about hosts. We don't do hosting, but what are your hosting rates?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We then would negotiate a deal where, depending on if it's a flat rate or a percentage rate, we'll just add that on top of whatever your rates are. They pay us, we pay you your fee, and we all eat. And now it's structured as if it's a service provider company that we outsource the relationship that we have, so we all eat.
I love that. Yes.
But we make sure to stay on brand. Yeah, we make sure to stay on brand by still calling it Now Web Services. Everything is going to be about now, because you coming from a journalism background, now is a call to action. And back then, when they used to run a lot of these newspaper commercials, when the TVs was black and white, it was always that now.
Right.
So that's where the now a part of DC9 Events stem from. Because
I love that.
Right now.
I love that. It's called Web Services, right?
Now Web Services.
Now Web Services. Yes. No, so I absolutely love that.
We're going to be launching that next year.
Yes, that is awesome. Y'all heard it here first. So it sounds like kind of the pivot for you for DC Now Events has been pretty smooth, going into the pandemic. And I mean, you guys were already you were already operating digitally. So if I can ask, what would you say have been, I guess, some challenges for you and for DC Now Events during the pandemic?
The challenges that I would say is being on top of how can we continuously add the value to the people that made us who we are. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that because when you create a company or when an idea comes to mind and you want to be your own entrepreneur, your own boss, whatever term that best fits you, I always like to tell people, create something that's going to bring value first and not more so that's going to be a company first. Because when you focus more so on creating a company first, you may have all these prerequisites of what you think is going to happen, how you're going to profit, things are going to go smooth. And when things don't pan out how you envision it pan out, you may go into panic mode, or you may start to do things that may compromise your integrity to make a quick buck or to make a quick partnership that don't align with your core values. But if you focus on creating the value first, building the customer base first, things will naturally flow, and you will learn as you go. And then as you learn as you go, then your value will start to formulate into a company.
Right. That's good. So speaking of kind of adding value, right? Creating a company with the value in mind, kind of with the customer in mind. Just had a brain fart. What would you say has contributed to, I guess, the growth of DC Now Events, and what has contributed to the success of the company, aside from, just having that value, that customer value in the back of your mind?
So the main thing that really assisted with the success and the growth of the platform was a little idea that had randomly came to mind. And I'm saying a little ideas because sometimes when you build something or when you create something, you may have everything laid out. This is how we want this to go. This is direction. But always remember, sometimes the people choose what direction that you're going to go, or the people choose you. You don't choose them. And I say that because if you look at our company, we do business with a lot of women, and that's not by purpose. When we launched DC9 Events in 2016 of June, we probably had like 15 followers at the time on our Instagram. we had like all social media pages already made, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. We probably had like 3 page likes on Facebook. I don't think we had LinkedIn at the time in 2016, but we had every social media page made. But as it pertains to IG, we kept noticing a consistent pattern where when people would contact us to advertise, to inquire about posting their events, one, it was always women. It was never men. And what I started realizing, even when I look back when I used to go out a lot during my club days, when I used to do parties, men don't go out. Men only go out if they know if it's going to be a certain type of theme, like sports, or that aligns with what they specifically want, or if they know it's going to be women at that place. But
we know that. We know that.
Yeah. So men don't really go out. So I kept noticing the pattern of women always contacting me. I said, okay. So but they was not trying to pay for our advertising rates because our audience was not strong at that time. So I said, damn, I kept noticing the same thing. I said, yo, we have to figure something out how to start to bring profit in, but to still align with our goals. So by 2017, going into 2018, I think this was like February timeframe. A friend of mine I went to college with, she was doing her first event on her own, and it was like a makeup networking type of social, but it was a very intimate event where she got an Airbnb, and I had just heard about Airbnb at that time. She just got an Airbnb. It was in like Temple Hills, and she needed promotion help with the event. So I said, look, I like what you're trying to do. The flyer looked dope. We would love to come on board to sponsor your event. Now, I was just talking out my ass. I didn't know what the hell sponsorship was. It just sounded good. It just sounded good. She's like, oh my God, thank you so much. I was like, hold up. Her reaction when I said sponsorship was so interesting. I said, okay. Immediately, my no fingernails having self went online. I Googled sponsorship. What does sponsorship entail? Google Fly, and I started to research more on sponsorship. I said, bingo. We're going to incorporate, just like any corporate company does when it comes to the fiscal year. They always allocate and put together a certain amount of funding for causes that aligns with their corporate values of their company, and they will donate a certain amount of funds to that cause. Where I was like, you know what, I'm going to take that same concept, but I'm going to tailor it to events, because I know when I was doing events back then, that support that you think people would give to you is not always there. So from an empathy standpoint, I understood that firsthand. So I said, we're going to incorporate a sponsorship program within our company where events that we think have a great mission, have a great cause that aligns with the audience that we are trying to mold and shape. We will come on board and say, hey, Majay, we'll love to sponsor your event because we think it aligns with our platform and it has a great cause. The fees that we would normally charge you, we'll waive those fees. And all we ask is for a member from DC9 Events to speak at the event. So now that conversion strategy, it may seem like we're doing it for free, but the value that we get is we get to tap into your network, we get to speak to your audience get to hear the passion in our voice, They get to hear the value that they will gain when they pull out their phone and follow us on Instagram to grow our platform. So we immediately started to incorporate the sponsorship program on a consistent basis. We probably sponsored 45 events from June up until now. And if it wasn't for that sponsorship program to convert the audience that we waived, the event curators that we waived the fees to speak at the event, that one strategy alone is what made us.
I love that. And I loved how you talked about, you said that this was a little idea, right? You kind of had no idea
Right.
what you were getting yourself into, but you took the time to learn, right? And I love that, because I have this thing, I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's perfect, just do it, just start. And so I love how you just touched on that. It's like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I tried it, and that has contributed to our success. That's what made us. So I love how you spoke on that. And I want to kind of go back. I meant to ask you this before, when we were talking about kind of virtual events and the shift to virtual events and video conferencing and so on and so forth. But when we think about success and what has contributed to success of certain things, what would you say makes virtual events successful? Like, what would you say makes virtual events effective? Because, we've seen this, like, people make all these jokes about being on Zoom and, virtual events and so on and so forth. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that, you can go just to restaurants and so on and so forth, but I feel like the bulk has been virtual. So like, what makes those events successful?
Anything that can make people feel like it's easily accessible, and they can come back at any given time to retain the information that they're trying to obtain. That in itself will make you successful in any and everything that you do. So what does that mean? When you think of virtual events and all on-site events, most of the time, people don't even know who's doing the event on-site. They may not have access to that person. If they do have access, it's a short period of time for them to talk to that person. Not everybody go out sometimes. So you, depending on the lifestyle that you live, you may have a family, you may have a significant other, you may be tired, you may not, that specific day or time may not be ideal for you to go to that on-site event. Whereas with the virtual events, it solve and tackle all of those challenges or those talking points that I just made, where you may have a significant other and it may be date night, but you and him or him and her can watch that virtual event online, where that companionship that probably may not have been there on site is now being structured and built from a holistic standpoint. Parents now can be able to bond and vibe with their kids from the virtual realm. The virtual events save you time as well, because you don't have to step out of your house. You don't have to get all dolled up, dressed up. So virtual event has always been there, but I think right now, to be able to immediately get access to information without having to leave the comfort of your home, that's the number one value that is there, where it saves you time.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, so now to some exciting stuff. I know you just launched, I believe it's called Now Colors, right?
Yes.
Tell us about Now Colors. Child, y'all are always doing something. I love it.
And innovation is going to keep you at the top. Creating a company that is, from a monopoly standpoint, is going to make people not, it's going to put you in a situation where you're not going to be looked as a competitor, because you're always creating things. So always create a company from a monopoly standpoint and not from a competitor standpoint in anything that you do. I don't care if you have a podcast, whatever, create it from a monopoly. And what does that mean? You implement different services that you will provide. So if I have, if Ask Maje is a podcast platform, from a monopoly standpoint, I will incorporate other services underneath your podcast where people can contact you to inquire about how to set up a podcast. So that's a service that you can provide, where you can incorporate a podcast consultation. And it's just so many different things you can incorporate. But with that being said, with Now Colors, is basically a new and interactive way where our audience, our community can be able to identify, find, and share their ideal events once they land on our page based upon the color-coded templates that we have on our platform. What does that mean? Now, when you land on our page, you will find an event, but you have to scroll down and see what date it is, what category is in, couples, and so forth. With Now Colors, the difference is you can be able to identify immediately based upon the specific color coded and the category. So if you see us posting couples events right now, there's no indirect search engine to it when you land on our page. Now with Now Colors, when you land on our page, every event that says couple is in red. Any events that's for friends is in black. Any events for family is in blue. Any virtual events that we post is in green. So now we created this new rollout, this new update where it's a search engine without it being a search engine once you land on our page.
Wow, I love that. That is so innovative, like you said. I absolutely love that. Okay, so what is next for DC Now events? So you have Now Colors that you just launched. You just recently launched a blog not too long ago. You gave us the secret to Now web services. So what else is next for DC Now events?
Yeah, so I'm glad you pointed out the blog. The blog is called Blog Events Now. We launched that in 2018. And
wow, I thought y'all just launched that.
Nah.
Let me get my facts straight.
But you're right though. We launched in 2018, but we've been consistent with it.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So your facts are still straight. So the whole premise of Blog Events Now is with DC Now events or Now events, people land on DC Now events to find events. We kept noticing over the last few years, that's why it's very important to also listen to your audience. We kept noticing people complaining about, damn, I missed this event. Damn, you guys post this event so late. So I said, you know what? For people who miss an event, we're going to create a media platform, a publication platform where you can go on this platform and read up on missed events. So now, again, from a conversion standpoint, the value that we give to you is if you cannot attend an event, you can visit Blog Events Now and read up on how that event was. We have our writers to go to these different events that we think aligns with the Blog Events Now platform. They write about the event, and they also redirect links to the people who curated that event, or it can be a social cause that falls in the realm of the event. It can be a protest. It can be a march. Now, Blog Events Now is your next go-to stop to read up on events that you miss. And now, if Maja missed an event, she landed on our page, she read how that event was, and she also saw who did that event. Now, from a media standpoint, you're like, oh, damn, this was a good event, even though I didn't go, but I would love to contact this person to interview them. So now that's the value you get. If you don't want to look for events on DC Now, we have something for you from a media standpoint. And the long-term vision with that, down the road, hopefully by 2025, 26, we're going to create our own news station, the next Fox 5 or whatever, but we're building the audience and trust factor first, because value comes from trust. It don't come from what you provide, it comes from trust first. So the Blog Events Now is just is the foundation to build an audience and the trust. And once we get that trust, 2025, 2026, you're going to see our own news station to compete with the NBC and the Fox 5 and so forth.
I love it. Y'all are going up. Absolutely. I am so here for that. Well, congrats on that, on the blog, on the consistency in that. That is awesome. And wow, just honey, I think that's why that's so important to have a plan, right? Like to have a goal, have a vision, and know where you're going. So I'm getting ready to let you go. I want to go ahead and wrap this up. I do have one more question for you, but I will say, for all my listeners, please understand, I endorse DC Now events. When I tell y'all, I be on y'all page screenshotting so I can make sure to, because y'all be having the bomb pictures. Matter of fact, I actually meant to DM you and tell you I went to 12 stories after y'all had posted it. Yes, honey. And when I tell you that rooftop, did you see my picture I posted with the little, it was a real, let me, hold on, let me pull it up. Wait, I gotta show you because I meant to tell you. I was like, oh my God, I need to tell him about this. Hold on. This picture. That's
your first time at 12 stories?
Yes, you see?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yes,
so this found out about that from our page.
I found out about a lot of places. Like literally, if you go through my screenshots, it's of y'all's page. Like because I'll see an event I really like, or not an event, but like a place that I really like. Child, you be putting all little gems from DC, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. This will be real cute pictures. Like, let me and I was screenshot it, and literally like, okay, me and my girls like, all right, we're going here. Found a new little place from DC Now events. Yes. So when I say that is so helpful, like what you're doing is absolutely providing value, especially for people who don't always want to go to the club. And that's kind of like why I asked you about like the club scene. Like, I feel like as we get older, the club gets a little old. As we get older, the club gets a little old. And you kind of just want to explore new things, try new things, do spontaneous and different things that you haven't before. And DC Now events has really given me I guess just the opportunity to do that with all of the cute places. I'm just like, I love it. Always screenshotting. So I definitely endorse DC Now events. Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, just a quick walk down memory lane. I partnered with DC Now events to do some advertisement for my launch party. So you guys were a huge impact just in that. And some of the people that came were like, hey, I found you from DC Now events, or I found you from an email from DC Now events. And I'm like, wow, this works. This actually works. So y'all have just been so helpful and so pivotal, just in my journey through the podcast, and you telling me that you listen all the time is so important to me. But yeah, so I know you're moving into Philly, you're moving into New York. So with all that being said, how can people learn more about DC Now events? How can we find out more information about you? All of that good stuff.
Well, for people who want to be a part of DC Now events, we're rolling out our internship program. We're opening up our internship program in the next 2 weeks. You can visit our internship website. It's internship.dcnowevents.com. It has all the different internship roles that we're hiring for, and you can submit and upload your resume straight from the site. Our team will get the resume information, review it. It's very easy to figure out the different roles. You tap it, it tells you the job, the internship descriptions and so forth. Fall of 2021, we're going to be opening up our headquarters, our official headquarters office space in the DC area.
Yes!
So we're going to be hiring dozens of career professionals. And we're going to change the scope of how people identify, find, and connect, and they can have that fulfilling experience of feeling like a tourist in their hometown. And if you're a tourist, you can feel like a native within the city that you're traveling to, where DC Now Events hub is at, or the Now Events hub is at. 2022, we're going to be launching our official app. We're building the audience base, the trust base. So people may not see the company as a tech company, but you build the customer base first, then you launch the app.
Love it. Now tell us where we can find you on social media, what your website is, how we can read the blog, all that.
You can follow us across all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, DC Now Events. That's DC NOWEVENTS. Some people may not know how to spell, so I got
break it down, Dan. Break it down.
If you want to inquire about our advertising service, our advertising rates are very, very affordable. It starts off at $10 for a post, and it can go up to XYZ. But
okay,
just focus on the $10. So if you want to inquire about advertisement, you can email us at sales@dcnowevents.com. If you want to inquire about partnership, you can send us an email at partnership@dc9events.com. If you want to inquire about any interview with us, you can contact our PR team at her name is Deja Scott. Her email is deja@dc9events.com. Or if you have any general inquiries, questions, or concerns, you can send us an email at info@dcnowevents.com. And in closing, we would love to have Maje at to be one of the official hosts at the second annual All Purple Gala.
Yeah! Absolutely. I would love, first of all, I've stalked that too because I be stalking DC Now events. No, but one of my really close friends went to the Purple Gala, All Purple Gala. Her name is Jada Brown. I don't know if you know her.
Jada Brown. Yeah.
Jada Brown.
Yeah. We invited a lot of pageant individuals. They was heavy in there.
Yeah. So she came after me. She was a Miss A&T after me. So that's how I know her. And so when I saw her at this event all dressed up, I'm like, oh, where y'all at? You know what I'm saying? Let me find out where y'all at. And so I did some research, and it took me a while to figure out that you organized the Purple Gala, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why it took me so long. I think I just was more so following people who went, or like, did you have like sponsors at the event?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I was following more so like the sponsors, and then there was like a lot of like fashion lines. Is that how it worked?
Yeah. Oh, we had a we had an impromptu fashion show, and it was by this amazing one of the top modeling agency is a shameless plug. I forgot the name. Damn.
Oh gosh, it's okay.
The founder, his name is Harley Morgan. Very, very cool dude. So, yeah, they have put together a dope fashion experience, runway experience on the show.
Yeah, and I think that's what I got confused. I thought it had something. Maybe the fashion folks were the organizers. So it took me a lot, just doing some research and figuring out.
The model agency is called Row Agency. They were the one that put together the fashion runway.
Okay, that's what, and I think that's what I saw a lot of like content of was the fashion show. So maybe that's why I was a little confused. And I'm like, the next time they have this, I'm going.
Well, next time you're going to be one of the official hosts.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely. Thank y'all so much. I love DC Now events. I'll be stalking y'all on the low. Don't tell nobody.
Before we get off, what would you say had caught your attention when you stumbled across our page? How did you stumble our page? And what would be some advice that you can give to us as we move forward once we create the app and the company being a whole tech together?
So I actually didn't stumble across your page. I met you at a networking event, and yeah, remember it was for the foundation, and now you got me forgetting.
Oh yeah. That was when I met you and
Khadijah. Yeah, my sister. Yeah, Khadijah. Yeah, so we met there. I learned about DC Now events, and we kind of just talked about like what we did, and that's how I found you. And then shortly after, I did my podcast party because I was doing my podcast party at the same place that we met. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember. It was funny because I was talking to y'all. Y'all was like, "So what do you do?" I said, "Oh, I work for DC Now events."
Yes, it took me a while to figure that out, but yeah. So then once I followed you guys, and I think I followed DC Now events right then and there. And so then I don't even remember how we got to chit-chatting about the podcast party and advertising with you all for the podcast party. I don't know if I reached out.
Yeah, you sent us a DM because you kept seeing us posting events.
Maybe that's what it was. So I DM'd you guys like, okay, how does the advertising work? And I don't want to pronounce her name wrong. I don't know if it's Petra or Petra.
Yeah, Petra.
She was amazing. She absolutely amazing. Like amazing, like customer service on 1,000. But yeah, so she just helped me just throughout the process of like advertising and stuff like that. And then, and like I said, I had some people, and she was like sending me the analytics. I mean, amazing. So yeah, and so I got a lot of people from the DC Now events email marketing that came to the podcast party. So I think I guess, like I said, I didn't stumble across your page, but obviously networking is always powerful. And like I said, I think you guys provide me value because I'm clear on what you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think not only am I clear on what you do, but your content interests me. Okay. Yeah. Your content interests me. So I am one of those people, like, you know, I want to figure out what to do with my family in the city, or, you know, I want to discover new things to do with my friends. And so I can literally, like, if I'm like trying to find something to do, I can go on DC Now event, scroll through, find me something, screenshot, y'all, this will be going today. And so that has definitely interested me. To be honest, in terms of advice, I don't really know when it comes to like events, I'm a mood person. Like, I have to be in the mood to go somewhere. So that's how I plan, you know, to go to an event. So like, you know, it would be hard for me to say like, oh, you guys need to post more consistently, or, oh, you need to, I don't know, be more, you know, identify more with, you know, like the colors thing. Like, I'm not a person who's like always looking for events. It might be a Friday night or a Thursday night. I'm like, I'm gonna go out tomorrow. Let me find somewhere to go. Let me plan something, kind of thing. Right. So I do like the colors thing though. I think that would be helpful for me if I was to like just be on your page, like looking for an event. Like, okay, if I'm going out with my friends, I know the color to look for, so I can kind of sift through based on like that color. But yeah, I mean, I love what the value you guys bring so far, and like I said, I'm a huge endorser, and I find a lot of my events from y'all. I don't know if I could give you a suggestion on anything. I think what would be really cool is how you do like the blogs with the missed events. It would be cool if you guys somehow hosted reviews. So like, I don't know, if you post it about an event, then after the event is over, maybe just not a discussion forum, but like some sort of way people can leave a review of the event. I don't know if that's the same thing like your blog serves as.
So with the blog events, because there's so many events that we post, we can't write an article on every event.
Right,
so
right.
The events that we think would align with at least 60% with everyone, we have our audience, we have our bloggers to write a review on that event and how that event was. And what's unique about blog events now, we also have a portal where event goers can also go to our site, and they can upload any contributing write-up of an event that they attend.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, like that, or even like user-generated content. Like, it would be really cool to see, like, after an event, like, see pictures. I don't know, that might be a lot considering y'all promote so much, but I guess just having like your audience have a say. But I guess that's kind of like what you said about, like, you know, being able to contribute a blog post or something like that. But it would be really cool, like, if you had like, say, for instance, like, say for the Purple Gala, right? Like, say you had it, say someone else was the organizer, but say this was something that you promoted, and it was like 1 year, kind of like how I missed it, and then you have another year, but I can go back and see like what people said about the first year. Like, oh, it was super cute. Oh, we got to dress up. Though it was open bar. Like, customer service was great. Like, so now that you have like a second series of it, you know, or whatever. Or like another thing, I actually started following 12 Stories after I saw it on your page, but they do a lot of like panel and like speaker events.
Okay.
So it would be cool if, like, if y'all, just to say, like, if y'all promoted something like that, you know, say they had like a series of, you know, guest speakers, or a series, like, somebody can put on the first one, like, oh no, I didn't like this one, or oh, the speaker wasn't good, or it's really good. They talk about entrepreneurship kind of thing, so I can see like what I'm getting myself into. Okay. That's the only thing I would say. But you know, you guys have been so helpful just thus far. I guess to me, so this might be biased, but yeah. So no, I think DC Now Events has been so awesome, and it's so exciting to see like everything you have planned. Just like wow. Eventbrite who?
You know, that's people always ask, you know, what makes y'all different from Eventbrite and this and that, you know, and I always let people know that we save you time. Eventbrite, they're more of a ticketing platform.
Right.
People will go on it to just try to find something, but it's more so to purchase a specific ticket of their choice for what they're trying to attend. Whereas with the Now Events brand itself, events don't necessarily mean from an entertainment having fun. It means experience, a time of day, a point in time, a memorable way to connect and identify with the ideal people or the community that aligns with your interest. So I always let people know events don't necessarily mean having to have fun as far as like entertainment goes.
Right. Makes sense. Well, all right, we're gonna wrap this up and I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being a guest. This is long overdue, okay? Long overdue. So no, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I am just so excited to see what DC Now Events has in store.
Listen, we can't wait. So real quick, what's new with your brand and what are some innovative things that you're going to incorporate moving forward into 2021? And what were some things that you felt that you had incorporated because of COVID-19 and you probably would have never thought about before COVID-19?
Absolutely. Okay, so great question. So if I can say one thing that I've incorporated in 2020, I guess, amidst the pandemic, is really pushing my capacity. I think, 2020 and the pandemic has given us so much time. And what's important is how you use that time, is how you respond to kind of the cards that we've been dealt. And so once this pandemic hit, I'm like, okay, I have so much time. I have so much just opportunity to try new things. And so I launched my blog. I've been consistent with the blog.
I love the blog.
Thank you. I've been super consistent with the blog. I launched video this year during the pandemic for my podcast. So obviously it's always been audio. And I think one thing that you said that was really important was about building trust. So I think I've built that really trusted relationship with my audio and my listeners. So yeah. I think this YouTube video is for a whole different audience, which I love, because my folks are so committed to the audio, they like the convenience of it. So the YouTube, I think, is going to open a whole new can of worms for a different audience. So I started video, and when I say video is a lot, I don't think people understand how much goes into it. So like I said, just, being consistent with my blog. I've started email marketing. So when a blog comes out, I send out an email, a nice email so people can read it that way. The video with the podcast. And I sent out a survey not too long ago that you and I discussed, just to kind of get feedback about the podcast. So just trying new things and incorporating, what a lot of listeners talked about. And one thing that they really wanted was to bring back the interviews, about successful entrepreneurs and, Black-owned businesses that are making an impact in their community. So I was able to bring that back. In terms of 2021, and what I have going forward, I got a few secrets I don't want to spill now, but I think my focus is, and as I guess small as it sounds, my focus right now is really building my social media following. And I say that because I spoke with I'm a huge networker, that's my thing. But anyway, I spoke with this gentleman over at Warner Media in Atlanta. He is their director of strategic communications. Him and I had a conversation. I just reached out to him on LinkedIn and we talked. And he said one thing about, the entertainment industry is that, you really have to get your social media following up. He literally said to me, you can be, or there can be someone who is just as pretty as you, who's an amazing host just like you, who's super confident like you, but they're going to choose the one with the most social media followers. He's right. He's like, that's just how the entertainment industry works. So kind of going back to what you said is like, okay, yeah, great. I want to work on building my social media following, but my first thought or my first thought is to provide value. Like, yes, I want to build it, but how can I provide value to these people who are following me on social media? And so that's kind of like where my blog came from, as like just a compliment to my podcast. So of course, in that, the goal is to continue to, you know, land these amazing hosting gigs and hopefully be on the red carpet someday. You know, and, you know, once 2021 is over, or the pandemic and 2020 is over, like, hopefully we go back to in-person events. I would love to host a panel at the Revolt Summit, different galas, you know, I would love to do stuff like that. So I think, you know, just kind of rebranding myself, rebuilding my brand, and providing value just through, you know, my, I guess, different things and avenues. So I'm just focused on the rebrand and the rebuild. The rebrand, that's 2021. Rebrand and rebuild.
There we go. Good slogan. Rebrand, rebuild.
And so, you know, we're going to be in touch, because DC Now events can definitely help me in so many different ways.
I'm down for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much again for joining me and talking to my followers on Ask Smash podcast. I'm sure they'll be able to use this interview and learn something from it. So I appreciate you so much.
Most definitely. Thank you for having us, though. We had a great time.
Of course. And I will talk to you soon.
Maj, you take it easy, okay?
All right. You too. Bye. All right. That's your dose of Ask Smash podcast for today. I will catch y'all on the next episode. Thank you so much. I said nest. Child, my lips is just as chapped. I should have put some lipstick, a little chapstick. Anyway, thank y'all so much for listening. I'll catch y'all in the next episode. Bye.
Let me get the mic. Honey, I got something to say. Ooh, I like that. Can you turn that up for me? No, like, it's Maja. But you know, Maj for short. Ask Maj.